In this video, we'll be covering the CAD portion of the 3-axis Pro demonstration. So the first thing we're going to do is have a new window open and then go up and click File, Save As. We're going to save the file as the 3X Pro example. And then go ahead and hit Save. So that's just getting us started on the new file so that if we need to come back to this, we always can. Then we're going to go over to our UCS, switch to a side view, go up to our solids and click cylinder. We're going to make a cylinder with the radius of 1 inch, a height of 6.5, and then we're going to move it over in Z minus 3.25, and then just hit OK to place it. Now we also have these drag options, so we can drag the radius longer, and then we could drag the radius shorter. So we want to bring this radius down to the end here. So we're left with a preview that shows us this. Now on this one, we're dragging it to size, but we're going to go in and change the specs that make that up before we actually hit OK. So we're going to change our radius to 1.25 and then a height of 0.5. And now we have one there, so we hit OK. And then we're going to grab this center section and actually drag it down to the other end. So I'm just going to drag it down to here, get it as close as possible for us. And then again, we want a radius of 1.25 with a height of 0.5. And then we want to make sure it's at X0, and then Z is going to be 2.75. And then we just hit OK, and it's going to place it on there for us. Now, if we cancel out of the cylinder function, we're going to see that in our solids menu on our CAD tree, we have 3 separate solids. So we want to recognize that there's 3 solids. Now we're going to right click inside our layer manager and add a new layer, and we're going to name this wireframe. And then right click on it and make it our active layer. And then we're going to go up to the arcs menu, go to coordinates. We're going to go ahead and click Control 7 inside the CAD window. We're going to create the center of our arc at Z minus 1.25 with a radius of 1.375 and then a start angle and an end angle of 0 and 360. So then we can hit OK and then cancel out, and now we have our arc. And it's on our wireframe layer, so we can turn that on and off when we need it. And then we're going to go up to Solids, Extrude Boss. We're going to go ahead and select this shape first, and then when we hit OK, we get the preview to see what the shape is going to look like before we actually create it. So for this extruded boss, we're going to go ahead and make our first distance 0.375 with a draft angle of 10 degrees. And then our distance in the other direction, we're going to make a 0.375 with a draft angle of 10 degrees. And that gives us the entire shape, so we can take a look at it before it's actually created. Put that back in isometric view by hitting Control 7 and then hit OK. Now one thing to note here, if I cancel out of this feature and I go and hover over my part again, you'll see we now have only one solid. That's because whenever we use Extrude Boss, it automatically adds all the solids together if they're touching. Now, since all these models are touching, this cylinder touches this cylinder and this cylinder touches here, all the way through, they are all going to get added together because that's how that function works. Same thing with the extrude cut. Whenever we cut through something, it's going to add whatever in that model is touching back together. Now, after we have that, we're going to come over to the CAD layer and make it active by moving the check mark and then turning off the wireframe layer completely. So then after we turn off our wireframe, we're going to go to our UCS tab and change to a front view, and then put this in a top view so that we can see the part. And if we click the letter T on our keyboard, it makes our part transparent. So what we're going to do now is go ahead and make 3 cylinders. Cylinder, radius of 0.75 and a height of 4.5. And then in our X location, it's going to go 1. And then on our Z, it's going to be minus 2.25. And then we're just going to go ahead and update our preview by clicking into another box and then hit OK. Then we could go ahead and drag this down to a smaller shape. Doesn't really matter what size. We're going to come in and make this exact in a second, but just get us laid out to where we need to be, and then we can go and update this one. Now that we've moved it, we can make our radius 1 inch with a height of 0.375. And then in our X, we're going to leave it at 1, and then Z 2.25. So it's going to go right to the end for us. And then we're going to hit OK to place it. Then you grab the center dot that's there and drag it straight down. Get as close as you can. But again, we're going to come in and change this. So we're going to make it X1 Y 0, and Z 1.875, and then hit OK, and it's going to create the second one. Now when we cancel out of this function, it's going to load up the CAD tree. We'll see that we have 4 solids now. So if we click on these solids, let me turn transparent off. And when we click on these solids, it's going to light up all the solids that we have inside the work window. So now we're going to click Solids, Add. We're going to click our main body here, and then we're going to select all 3 of these at the same time. So make sure you pick these all at the same time, and then hit OK, and it's going to add everything together for us. Now we're going to go down to our UCS and change it to a top view, and we're going to create a cube. So if we go into an isometric view, if we hit Control 7, it puts us in an isometric view, and then F on the keyboard fits all. So then I can go up to Solids and Cube. We're going to make the cube in X 6.5 with a width of 4.5 in Y, and then a height of 2. So the only thing we have to do is go into Z and bring it -1, and then hit OK, and it's going to create that for us. So now we go up to Solids and Subtract. We're going to select the cube that we want to keep, and then we want to select what we want to get rid of, and then just hit OK, and it's going to subtract that entire solid body from that cube. After we finish the solid subtract, we're going to cancel out, go up to Solids and Fillet. We're going to have our radius for the first 3 set to 0.25, and we're going to go ahead and select this center radius here, right down the middle of this part, and then these 2 radiuses right here. Now I can also go in, and instead of hitting OK and having 2 fillets inside of our CAD tree, right now I can go in and change this now to 3/16 and pick the rest of my fillets. So my first fillet's going to be here, and then around here, and on the other side, and then over here, at the other end, and right over here. Now instead of picking them all separately and having 2 different fillets set up, now we just did all of our fillets in one section. So we just hit OK. It's going to fillet everything all at once, and we have all our fillets set up. So then we're going to go ahead and cancel out of that feature, and inside our cam tree we'll see we have just 1 fillet now. So then we're going to go ahead and go up to Other, and then Hole. For the first hole pattern, we're going to make a grid. Our width is going to be 1.75, our height of 3.75. Our hole diameter is going to be 3/16, and then we're going to break it. The number of holes that we're going to do is going to be 3 and 2 in Y, and then under origin we're going to select center. So we're going to create it off the center, and then we're going to move in X minus 1.25, and then hit OK to place that grid. Then we're going to come back in, we're going to change our width to 0. We're going to change our number of holes to 1 in X and 2 in Y. And then in X we're going to change it to 2.375, and then hit OK to place the 4th holes right there. And then our next one, we're going to make our width 5.75 with a hole diameter of 0.375. We're going to do a number of holes in X is going to be 2, number of holes in Y is going to be also 2, and then our origin in X we're going to put at 0, and then just hit OK to create those holes. And then if we cancel out of that function, the next thing we're going to do is do an extruded cut. So then we're going to go up to Solids, Extrude Cut. We're going to hit Control 7 to turn our part into an isometric view, and then hit the letter S while in the workspace to turn the shading off. So then we'll go up to this button here. We're going to click the Pick Match Color, but we're going to click the drop down and choose Pick Match Radius. We're going to go ahead and pick the larger of the 2 holes, and with the Pick Match Radius function, it picks the first hole as that radius and then picks any radiuses that match it. For this one, we want to make sure that our distance goes down 1 inch. So when we hit OK, we want to be in the part 1 inch. But remember, if it does go up above, it's not hurting anything. It's going to remove this anyway. So even if we're 1 inch high up here, we just hit OK, and it's going to remove those holes. So if we come back in and hit the letter S to turn it back on, it's going to show us that. Now if we hit the letter S again, we're going to go back in, we're going to select this hole here, and we should already be in Pick Match Radius mode, so we're going to choose those. It picks all those holes. This time our distance is going to be 0.5, and then we just hit OK once to get our preview, and then hit OK again, and then we're going to see all those holes show up. So then we just cancel out of the feature, come into the workspace, hit S, and then Control 7 and hit the letter F to fit all. And that concludes the video on the 3-Axis Pro CAD example.